And welcome to the very first Chaos to Clarity of 2025. I'm meteorologist Bernie Rayno. You can follow me on X. I'm at AccuRayno. I'm pretty active on X, especially when we have this stormy weather pattern. And I deal a lot with snow and ice storms, a little bit of severe weather, but also I get very active again during the hurricane season. All right, I'll count them this year. Last year, by the way, for those that are everydayers or not everydayers, but watch all my videos, I did 40 last year. 40 Chaos to Clarities. This is number 1. Okay, we have a lot going on. We've been talking a lot about the possibility of the coastal storm, but last week I was also talking about, listen, this is going to be a formidable storm from the southern plains to the mid-Atlantic Sunday in the Monday, and it really is. This is going to be a big snowstorm for some, and for Baltimore and Washington, D.C., this could be the biggest snow we've had since, I think, 2022. It's been a few years since we've had over 6 inches, and I think we have a shot of getting over 6 inches in both those locations. All right, let me show you what's going on. This is the storm that we're tracking right now. This is off the Pacific. This will be coming into the Northwest as we head into Friday. Now, let's track this system. And I will tell you, not much has changed with this storm since I recorded this. I believe I did it on Tuesday. Can't remember. I think it was Tuesday that I did this. The modeling has been very consistent with this system. A few little minor things here and there, but nothing that is all that different. Here's the trough. This is tomorrow afternoon coming into the Pacific Northwest. This is the American model. That's the European. GFS European, same thing. Let's go to Saturday morning. There's the energy across the Intermountain West. GFS European, same thing. Now, the other thing to focus on is this upper low. You see this here across eastern Canada? What this is doing is, this is what's sending the injection of cold air out ahead of this storm. This is why it's cold enough for snow and ice. And this will end up attacking the cold air with lots of Gulf moisture. And that's why you're going to see a huge precipitation shield with this. Let's go to Sunday morning. Here we go. Upper low. You can see it. That's the American, European. Pretty much the same, a little things here and there. But of note this, if you've got to cut off upper low in here, right? You've got a lot of cold air coming south. This is going to open up the Gulf of Mexico. All right. A lot of snow and ice in this area. I don't think there's much differences in the modeling as we go forward here across the plain states. So I think this is going to be pretty uniform. There it goes. I want to take you to Monday afternoon, and this is where it gets a little tricky for the Northeast. Cities like Philadelphia and New York City. I just posted this on my X account. I want to show you this. This is the American model, and I want you to concentrate on this line, the 534 line right here. Notice where the American model has it. Has along the New York State Thruway. All right. What this is doing, since this trough or this dip in the jet stream is a little farther north, this is allowing more energy to come farther north. So this would put the snow all the way into toward New York City, and there will be heavier amounts in Philadelphia, up to 5-6 inches of snow in Philly. This would at least get you 1 to 3 in in New York City. This would probably get you about 5 or 6 in Philadelphia. And I don't think there would be much change in Baltimore and Washington, D.C., 3 to 6, 4 to 8 for you. That's the American model. And again, I'm going to draw on this really quick. Right in here. All right. Now, watch where the same line is on the European. Way down here. See? So what this would do, this would shut off the precipitation. You would not get the precipitation in New York City. You'd get lighter precipitation in Philly. Maybe 1 to 3, 2 to 4 inches of snow instead of 5 or 6. New York City would struggle to get a coating to an inch. So there's just some minor differences that we still have to iron out a little bit in the Northeast. You can see the difference. Watch that 35-34 line. American, European. All right. So that's the difference. For the most part, though, once you get into the plain states, really not much difference at all with this storm. Let me show you the surface map. You could see what I'm talking about here with the modeling. And there we go. And you can see here comes the storm. This is the American model, right? Right across the mid-Atlantic. Here's the European model right across Virginia. Very similar European GFS. Here's the GFS, the American model. Here's the European. All right. So really not a whole lot of difference. All right. There's going to be a significant amount of ice with this storm, I'm afraid, that we're going to have to deal with across the central part of the United States. Let me put you back on full here. I need to grab something that I forgot to grab. But there's going to be a significant amount of ice with this storm. I want to show you the icing that we're going to see with this storm. Let me put this on full. Let me put this on full camera. And let me put this on full. I mean, this is going to be a very significant ice storm, I'm afraid, south of St. Louis. In this area south of Kansas City. I think Kansas City and St. Louis, you're snow and sleet. I think it's just mostly going to be snow for you, but sleet may. I don't think there's a lot of freezing rain in Kansas City and St. Louis. I think it's sleet. But this is going to be sleet and freezing rain in here. Lexington is in it, downstate Illinois. What is that? Along I-44, this is going to be an I-44 special of ice, especially south of St. Louis. You're going to get a lot of problems with trees and power lines down in here. I mean, this is a half inch to an inch of ice. Now, on the southern side of this ice area, I think you're ice to rain. On the northern part of this area, you're snow to some sleet. But in between these two areas, this is going to be the sweet spot for ice. So that's going to cause some major problems. Louisville, Lexington, downstate Illinois, Indiana, I-44, north and east of Springfield, and south and west of St. Louis. This is going to be a significant ice storm. All right, let me get you the snow map here. That's what a lot of people are interested in, and we'll go over some accumulations here. Kansas City is an interesting spot here. This area from Kansas City towards St. Louis, right along I-70. Right now, we have 6 to 10 inches in Kansas City and 3 to 6 inches in St. Louis. It all depends on how much mixing there is, and there is a difference in modeling. I want to show you something. It's a little scientific, but I think this will illustrate my point in Kansas City, for example. So what you're looking at are soundings. You're looking at the temperature and the temperature and the dew point temperature from the surface through a large depth of the atmosphere. It looks a little complicated, but it's not. I want to go to Kansas City. And let me, this is the, this is the American model. And what you're looking at is this. All right. So let me scroll up a little bit here. This is the freezing line, the 0 line Celsius. So that's 32 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the surface here. And then as you go up, you go higher into the atmosphere. You'll notice that right in here, you have this little area right in here where you're above 0. You see that? That little nose of warmth. This says that Kansas City is going to mix with sleet. The European model doesn't have this, that it's all snow. So that's a big difference. And it's similar differences, by the way, in St. Louis. The American model has some mixing with sleet. The European model does not. So that's going to be a big difference. So like in Kansas City, you can easily get a foot of snow out of this. I could see a foot of snow in St. Louis. But if you mix with sleet, it's going to hold down the accumulations. That's the difference. So that's going to be a close call in that area around Kansas City towards St. Louis. Let me show you, though, our snowfall map here. Let me put this on the full. So we're going 6 to 10 inches in Kansas City. We're going 3 to 6 in St. Louis with 6 to 10 or 6 to 12 just north. If this is all snow in St. Louis, this will be a foot of snow, at least 10, 11 inches of snow. We have 6 to 10 inches in Indianapolis as well. And once you get north of Kansas City and St. Louis, this is primarily going to be all snow in this area. About 3 to 6 in Omaha. You just get south of Omaha, you're in the 6 to 12. We do have a bullseye area from about St. Joseph and north of Kansas City. In this area in here, where we have over a foot of snow, we have 12 to 18 inches. And I think there will be reports just north of Kansas City of over a foot of snow. Again, I could see a foot of snow in Kansas City with this too. I don't think there's much in Chicago. I really don't. I think it's going to have a hard time getting to Interstate 80, which is in here. until you get in, west of the I-35, I-80 interchange. Again, Omaha, I think a solid 3 to 6 inches for you. All right. Now, let's get into the mid-Atlantic area here, and let's talk about the accumulations here. Right now in New York City, we have a coating to an inch. All right, coating to an inch in Philadelphia, in New York City right now. I don't think there's any more than an inch or two. I could see how there's nothing. I talked about the differences in the modeling here with that trough. I think the most you're going to get in Philadelphia, in New York City, is 1 to 3. Right now in Philadelphia, we're projecting 2 to 4 inches of snow. This is going to be Sunday night into Monday. Sunday night into Monday in here. What happens out in the plains is going to be Sunday night. I think Washington, D.C., we have 3 to 6 inches for you, 4 to 8 inches in Baltimore, and we're probably going to have over a foot of snow here, likely into the mountains of and higher terrain of Western Virginia, and then the mountains of Northern West Virginia, probably over a foot of snow in here. Right now we have 6 to 12. Pittsburgh, I like 2 to 4 inches for you, 2 to 4, 1 to 3 for you. I think Harrisburg, 2 to 4 is good for now. I'm going to put you in the same area as Philadelphia. Once you get up toward Interstate 80, State College, Lewisburg, the Lehigh Valley, 1 to 3 seems to me to be the right number. I could see a little more, but I'm going to stick with the 1 to 3. We have 4 to 8 inches in Cincinnati, by the way, and much of southern Ohio. I think once you get toward the Richmond area, I think it's 1 to 3 inches for you. Snow goes over to the ice and then maybe the rain. And Fredericksburg, I think it's like 2 to 4, 3 to 5 inches of snow and sleet for you. I think this is all snow in Washington, D.C. We're going to stick with the 3 to 6. So again, this is a formidable storm with a lot of snow in areas that haven't seen any in quite some time. Now, before I go, I have 2 more threats of snow I want to talk about next week. A lot of cold coming as well. So I'm going to get that ready for you here quickly, because there's a sneaky area of snow I think we have to keep an eye on across parts of Tennessee and North Carolina, middle part of next week. Let me show you the breakdown for that, and you can see what I'm worried about. Now, I must say the modeling is not showing any snow with this area, but I think they're missing it. I think they have it too cold and dry, and I think there's going to be mischief and mayhem with this on Wednesday. Not a huge storm, but an area of 1 to 3 in areas that don't get snow a lot. So let me show you what I'm talking about. It's right in here. This is Tuesday night. You've got this piece of energy, and you see you've got this upper low in here, and little pieces of energy are sneaking out here. So watch this right in here as we get it into Wednesday. Right here. Right in there. See what I'm looking at here? You've got this piece of energy, another reinforcing shot of cold air, and you've got this upper low. Now, this may not be exactly right, but I'm thinking that some kind of energy is sneaking out here, that you may get a little period of snow in this area. Where? In through here. And I wonder, can it get down in the northern parts of Georgia and Alabama and up the upstate of South Carolina? It's in here. That you can get a little sneaky snow. Now, again, none of the modeling is showing this, but this looks suspicious to me. Now, even the American model, you see it has this digging trough, and what's happening is you've got this energy in the west, and a piece is trying to get out of here. So that's why you've got to worry about this area. And this would be on Wednesday. Nashville, maybe Lexington, maybe Louisville, into the Boot Hills, something in here. I'd keep an eye on that area as we get into Wednesday for 1 to 3 inches. Then, late in the week, we've been wondering about late in the week, and there's still a huge difference in modeling. And I'm telling you right now, the next threat then after this midweek would be Friday, Saturday. And I want to show you why, why I think that that's still a concern here. And what's happening, let me take you to Friday morning. It's a little complicated, but what you do is you have a piece of energy diving across the Midwest, and you've got this energy in the west. So what you're looking for to happen is, to get this storm, is this energy, I'll mark it with the S, dives southward, and then you get some of this energy running out ahead of it. You form a storm down here, and then this guides up the eastern seaboard. Now, maybe it's a mid-Atlantic storm. Maybe it's up the East Coast. I'm not sure, but I think the potential's there. But it's always been is we know we're going to have a piece of energy diving from the north Friday and the Saturday. The question is do you have any energy coming out of the southern branch of the jet stream that can get out ahead of this and form the storm? All right. The GFS says maybe. The Europeans are a lot different because watch what it does. You see all this energy in here? Watch where it has it. It's way back here. Now, the European has a bias in modeling that it likes to lock off these upper lows to the west-southwest. It has a bias doing that it likes to do that, and sometimes it's wrong. So I don't know. If the GFS is right, there is no storm Friday and the Saturday. The American model, there's a way. Let me show it to. Let me show you the surface map on these, and you can see what I'm talking about. I'll put this into full. So this is the GFS model. See how it has it buried pretty far off to the south? The European doesn't have it at all. It's way offshore. But I think you've got to worry about this. And you may have to worry about problems in Texas late this week as well, late next week. So let's keep an eye on this. I made this map last week, and I'll tell you what, I still like this map that I made, this one here, that you have something trying to come across Texas at some point Thursday, and there could be some snow and ice with this. And then you either have a weak wave along a boundary that goes out to sea and there's nothing, or you've got a storm that takes a track like this. Now, maybe it doesn't come right up the coast and give a snowstorm to New England. Maybe it's just a storm that has some snow across the southeast and mid-Atlantic. I'm not sure. But this is still possible as we get into Friday and Saturday. And then, by the way, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, I think we have another threat for a storm for snow and ice early the following week. And that would be somewhere around the 13th and 14th of January. So listen, we've got a lot of things going on here in the north and east. But first, we have that first storm. I already went over the snow accumulations with that. But again, let's keep an eye on that sneaky snow Wednesday. Tennessee, northern parts of Georgia, maybe the upstates of South Carolina, into North Carolina, maybe Raleigh and Charlotte. It's not necessarily a huge storm, but there's enough snow to cause some problems. And then let's keep an eye on this setup for Thursday, Texas, and then Friday and the Saturday, Mid-Atlantic and perhaps Northeast. I think this is going to get very interesting as we go forward here. The modeling doesn't have this figured out at all. I just know the ingredients. I feel very strongly about that northern trough coming down, and then it's that southwest piece. If you can get a piece of energy to run out of that northern trough, then we're going to have a snowstorm. If not, you don't. I'm not sure yet, but it's something I'm going to keep an eye on. If you have any questions, comments, you can follow me on X. I'm at AccuRayno, and I appreciate your time in watching the video, and we'll keep an eye on this. But batten down the hatches. Snow and ice coming here Sunday into Monday.